Hey everyone, welcome back to Punchline. Episodes 10, The Fall, 11, Justice Punch for 12, Punchline for 12. And yeah, we were kind of behind on this. Just me being lazy and editing issues and all that stuff. But I have Skyline with me.
Hello, everyone. Better late than never, I always say.
Yep, and it's time to wrap this thing up. Finally, overall. Then our top 3 moments, I'm going with, from episode 11, just the insane over-the-top animation and the mecha battle. I was surprised that they had a mecha in this series. I seem to be, pretty lucky on that front, where I'll pick a show that wouldn't have it, and all of a sudden mech appears out of nowhere. So, seem to have a good run with that. And I liked how everyone had like a role to play. Each character had their important part to play in episode 11. Contributing to the overall defense of the house. I think that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you got that.
Go ahead.
You got that pinpoint. You got that pinpoint fan service for yourself, didn't you? In the form of a mecha coming out there in battle.
Yeah, it seemed to be lucky with that. And like with I forgot the Zvezda last season was the same like that, where I didn't expect there to be a mecha, and there was a giant robot near the end. So it seemed to be pretty lucky on that. But yeah.
Unfortunately, did we have the moment of Kate on a motorcycle in Punchline?
No, I don't think so. But
Oh well, you can't have everything then, I guess.
Right. What was your number 3?
One ring to rule the Moe. This was a flashback scene between the three, what is probably more or less the main characters of Pine, Gurika, and Mikan, and all that, back when they were in their original bodies and all that. And apparently there's a squabble over who gets to give who a friendship ring.
Mm-hmm.
But the practical upshot of it all is that Churiko, the original Churiko, falls down, scrapes her knee, and so when the other one tries to help her out, she's like, nope, it's no good, only Guriko can fix this. And that kind of led me to thinking that as the episodes would come on, that Guriko would do a heel-face turn from his face-heel turn and actually become a good guy. But, they ended up surprising me in the end, as far as that was concerned.
Right, yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And it kind of ticked me off because, traditionally throughout the episodes, we weren't really paying all that much attention to the body swap thing at all. They fixed that up in the end, or it would all make sense as the episodes go on, and it never quite did. It was one of those moments where I really wish I would have paid attention.
Yeah. But, I mean, we
paid better attention or didn't instantly dismiss it.
Right, I mean, yeah, we've always had that kind of debate on this show. Is the body swapping really that important, necessary? Yeah, I guess maybe near the end, but right now, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with my number 2 would be from episode 12. Mika almost dies, the robot girl, because she's laying on the ground, missing an arm, and she's kind of, sparking, whatever. So, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's like she's a robot. I'm pretty sure she has a backup somewhere. But knowing her, she's pretty smart. But at the same time, I like the shot of everybody defeating their enemy at the same time. You had Robra fighting the ghost general guy, Mika and Ito going against the computer for the hacking, and Yuta and Mikatown versus Guriko. And they, shot for shot, each of them, punch or defeat their rival enemy thing. I thought it was a cool way to wrap it up, not spend 10 minutes on each segment.
Yeah.
They just did it all one shot. Get it out of the way.
They were finally all brought together for one specific mission, and they completed that specific mission with each other. Even though they were separated, they were doing it together.
Right, yeah. And like I said, each character had their role to play, which is pretty nice how they incorporated all that, instead of just letting them stand on the side. And, yeah. So what was your number 2?
Pumpkin Chair's insane plan. It was really insane because it was basically launch all the missiles. How many missiles can we launch? All of them. We'll eventually do that. But, as of always, to be able to add tension to the scene, it takes time to hack, apparently. And time also for the missiles to go from Earth all the way up to the asteroid out there in space. So it was just really insane, kind of complicated and kind of weird. But, what else would you expect a robot to think of? But before they even get to that, they have to have a Happy New Year celebration with cold noodles.
Yeah. Well, they had cold noodles, so I'm like, I don't think I would like that. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So used to having stuff in it, like cheese or pasta sauce. So it's like, yeah. I'll jump with my number one with Yuta slash Pine sacrificing himself sort of ish to save Mikotan after switching bodies with her. But he doesn't switch with Gurko because obviously you're bad, slap her hand on the wrist, no, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, but also kind of sad because we're technically losing, Yuta, but at the same time he's not really that important. I don't think. I mean, overall the plot, yeah, he's important, but for me, I kind of stopped caring about him after quite a while. I don't really care what happened to him. I was more interested in the girls, even though they did reveal he's a girl, but the other characters are more impactful, I think, than Yuta, personally.
Yeah, they kind of spent a lot of time with him, and he kind of ground the interest gears down after a while, didn't he?
Yeah, I got to see him fell, and then his gimmick of seeing the panties and having his reaction was kind of like, yeah, you did all that. That was it. I mean, that's about almost all his character had to offer, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, he did, leading into my number one point, he did change the future. He did put him on that third rail by finally getting everyone together and finally realizing that if he can get his past self and his now ghostly self in unison working together, they could figure out a new way to make things work.
Right, and for the most part, he did all that. And like I said, I guess this is Chiyoko getting her original body back. So the only one who did get screwed out of that, I guess, was Guriko, which was in Pine's body. So technically, Pine's the only one who died. So the two girls survived. The three girls survived. So yeah, it's very weird. Like I said, it is very confusing.
I know. And then that only gets more complicated. I mean, that was complicated by the fact that Guriko tried to reclaim her body so that she'll be the one that dies.
Right.
And Yuta, in time, is not just basically not going to let her off that easy. He walks away from her. He's just like, nope, sorry, you brought all of this on us, and you're going to have to suffer for this. It's really one of those interesting moments because they don't say, oh, well, you're defeated, now you're my friend like you always were. They kind of just go, no, you had every opportunity to be decent about this, and you were a great big old dick. So guess what? You take a walk.
That's true.
You take a walk, and it seems like it's almost a fate worse than death in that respect because now he's disembodied or something weird going on there, but that at least leaves it open for Yuta's ghost to go to the past to repeat the process so they can keep that time loop going and therefore close so the future can keep moving on.
Right, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like, go in the corner and think what you did. Think about what you just did, to Guriko. And by corner I mean, long fucking walk. Get out of here. But, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the conclusion was kind of interesting. And, I'll get some random stuff for the episode was the cool hacking visuals with the Mika kind of it reminded me a little bit of Iron Man, how you can use that 3D space and like almost near his face and like manipulate it with his hands. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems to be the thing. That seems to be the standard these days for manipulating computers, doesn't it?
Right.
Why have multiple laptops and multiple monitors when you can have all this stuff around you?
Yeah, it'd be, save some money. I don't really save some money. Probably more expensive, but yeah. Next part would be great to see Chiyoko back in her original body and acting a little girly here and there, but still, it's hard not to unsee Yuta cross-dressing because it's even though people are like, well, it's really technically a girl, so it's not really cross-dressing, but I mean, up to the point, Yuta, his fashion sense was mostly boy clothes, so seeing the reverse is a little weird, but I mean, I can, it's fine. I don't mind it too much. But I did like how at the end she was wearing the orange superhero outfit. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. With
the short hair, I guess short black hair. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, Chiyoko finally made a cute girl when you get right down to it. Had to get that Yuta out of her. Or had to get that Pine out of her, or whatever.
Pretty much,
for whoever, my God. Yeah. My head so hurts. Who?
Yeah, it was Pine. Yeah, you're right. You got rid of him. But in this last shot at the end, I like where they're like paying, like they're praying to him or whatever. And the picture, they offering the panties to him. So that was pretty funny. So at the end, like they walk out and the picture falls forward.
It's kind of like without this odd quirk of yours, none of this ever would have happened. So they have to pay homage. They have to pray about that.
Yeah, that's what was funny in the end. He just falls, the picture falls face for it. It's funny. I was like, nice little side joke at the end. Like his death is sad, but technically he's not dead because he's just a disembodied ghost. So I guess this is how they look at it, as he's still around them, but he's just doesn't have a body. So, but yeah, I guess we're gonna do a series review of this for fast. For me, I was surprised learning on Twitter that there's so many people that actually like the series. For me, because I didn't really jump on Twitter much when this series was airing, but I was surprised about about 4 or 5 people that I know that typically wouldn't watch a show like this. I mean, like Cara Neal put it on her, I guess, favorites of the spring. I was like, that's kind of surprising. And a few people were praising it because I guess the characters at the end, I guess, some of the stuff is pretty nice.
So in that respect, does it kind of live up to Noisemina's kind of mission statement to get people who don't normally watch anime to watch anime?
I think so. I mean, this show is, compared to all the Mappa shows, which I made a point here that Mappa is the one who did this. Compared to what they've put out, this is, I think, different. I don't think they've done a fan service show yet, but I mean, this is just panty shots, which is typical anime fire. We see this almost every season. So I mean, it wasn't anything new on that front, but I guess character-wise, it was kind of interesting.
Well, other than its reason, it was used to activate superpowers in a weird kind of smushed up, goofy way. So it had a raison d'etre, but it's not as if fanny shots need a reason to be shown.
Right. But yeah, I was just kind of interested seeing that people actually kind of like this. I know in the beginning I kind of wrote it off as not being very interesting early on, but I guess near the end maybe things picked up and made it change people's minds. That it wanted to do something and it tried. It got the story across. I mean, at least it wasn't complete messed up timelines. I mean, I understood most of it, but just the body swapping thing was kind of confusing.
Yeah, that kind of muddied things down, and I didn't exactly feel that it was 100% necessary to get the plot across. Yeah. I mean, you have one bad character and 2 good characters. That's all you really needed. I mean, that's all you really needed. What more can you say? But I guess, body swap, they probably worked that in there to make sure that he could get his ghost form could go out there and keep that time going to keep it stable so that the future can go on. Right.
And like I said here, the plot, it took, I think, around 7 or 8 the episode when the plot kind of finally kicked in. Revealing the whole, you gotta do the third rail, you gotta set the timeline and all that. So I think they finally fixed everything at the end with that. And I was gonna ask you, who do you think is the best girl? I like watching Mika-tan because I'm into superheroes, and she's cool because she's kind of, a cute character. But I was wondering who did you think was, your best character?
Mika.
Oh yeah.
Beyond the shadow of a doubt, she was cute in that unconventional way, not like the rest of the characters. Kind of still keeping within Queen Ray's kind of type that she plays most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just like the idea of a super robot.
Yeah, she would be my second favorite character, just because, like you said, she's kind of almost the brains of the outfit, but everyone else kind of makes up for the fighting skills, and like Ito's a hacker and all that. And Robra, I think, got kind of the short end of everything. She's just kind of there, just to be a medium so you can jump in her body.
She was the odd adult out in the group of teenagers or something along those lines.
Yeah, everyone else had their issues, but only thing with her is she couldn't get a boyfriend. So it's like, compared to everyone else, your problems aren't really that much compared to everyone else's. Like Yuta doesn't have a body, Mika-tan's dying, Meika's, a robot, and Ito's, a neat because she got, bullied at school. So I mean, Robra, I don't know. I don't know how you got into this house, but it's weird.
She needed a place to live, just like anyone else.
Probably, yeah. And again, like I said, Mappa did a real good job. I kept the whole time thinking Trigger because, for me, it's just a Gainax looking show. It just looks like
a lot of the character design, a lot of the actual animation itself looked a lot like Gurren Lagann, looked a lot like a battle.
Yep.
And so it just made you think that all this time. So hey, Mappa stole a page from them. It happens all the time.
Right. Yeah, I applaud them for doing their, I guess, best mimicking of those two studios, Gainax and Trigger, and this that's art style always appeals to me. I like how they can exaggerate things instead of just regular bland designs are just kind of there. I mean, compared to like Sonic no Terror, I think people probably say Terror has better designs, but because they look more realistic. But this one's more
That's
more
apples
anime.
and oranges.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
That's apples and oranges. I mean, no matter what,
yeah.
no matter what character design or no matter what thing, you do it to the best of your ability.
Uh-huh. And the last thing I mentioned is that the time travel element thrown in the series. Like I liked it, but at the same time I almost wonder have other anime based time travel shows done it better. I mean I think Steins Gate had more impact as far as what happened in that time travel, but in the end I think it's the same where no matter what you fix, something's always going to get screwed up in time travel. This way I will always see time travel happening.
If anyone ever asked me to do a time travel story, my first response would be, no, sorry, not going to do it.
Uh-huh.
Recently we've had the latest Terminator movie out, and I've read reviews, and once more it's playing fast and loose with time and space and time travel,
Mm-hmm.
and just basically screwing everything that came before it, which is what the movie before it did, which is what the movie before it did, which is what the original did, and it's just kind of like, man, time travel is not. I mean, Doctor Who does it best because they kind of pay attention to different points like that, and they use it to have an adventure of sorts, and it doesn't really make a deep impact about what might happen, unless of course it's like to save the universe or something like that. But I mean, you get something that like Groundhog's Day,
Right.
you get into a point like this show,
Yeah, it did that. Yeah, it did that bit.
and like Back to the Future, the more personal time travel is to the main character, the better off it is.
Right, if it means something to them, I guess.
Yeah, if it means something directly to them, so you as an audience can kind of sympathize and dig on them.
Yeah,
It'd be like, oh my God, we've got to save the future from
Right.
giant, ugly, nasty, human exterminating robots, and you're like, yeah, get lost.
Right, I mean, Steins Gate, that's why I think this is held in high regard for time travel, because it's more about, it is a personal story of that guy trying to save the girl, Every time he tries, you feel bad for him. Every time he tries to save her, she dies in a different way, and it's like, your heart breaks for him, like, man, he just wants to save this girl. Like, why can't he save her? But he can't, and like you said, if it's more personal to the characters, it means more, but if it's dealing with a global threat, not as much. Because, like you said, they screw things up and hit the backtrack and go, wait, we meant this. Oh, we gotta fix that. And it's like there's so many issues to fix. So, and anything else to say about Punchline? I mean, I don't think there'd be another season of that. I mean, maybe an OVA, but that's stretching it, honestly.
It'd probably be even more fan service the OVA when you get right down to it.
Yeah,
but
Hot Spring maybe.
Has Noitamina really done an OVA thing?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
Have they tipped in an extra episode with like the physical media release or something like that? I can't.
Yeah, maybe the 12th episode was kind of like the saying like, oh, we had extra budget for one more episode. But like you said earlier, I mean, they usually do 11, maybe 22 episode series.
Yeah, at the end of the 10th episode, everyone was kind of like gearing up. Oh well, they're going to resolve it in the next episode, and then it wasn't resolved by the end. You went, really? A 12th episode for a one-core Noitamina show? What is this magic?
I would always fall back on like a bunch of different things: DVD sales, popularity.
Yeah.
What was the buzz around this show? Was it great? Maybe not really. So we don't really know what's going to happen. And like you said, I mean, I think Gatchaman's maybe the second time they've only done a second series or something.
Yeah.
I think, but I have to look back. There's probably more than that. Maybe Chaika wasn't that theirs, or no, I don't think that was theirs. But yeah.
No.
But anyway, I guess that's the review for Punchline. I mean, I don't know if I would recommend this to anyone if they're not fresh in the anime. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, since the spring season has started, I keep on thinking there's people on my Facebook friends page that are kind of like, summer since it started. There are people on my Facebook page who are like, oh hey dude, recommend me some cool anime to watch and stuff like that. And it's kind of like it always starts up. So I think about a show like this, and I'm like, man, I can't recommend this to you. I'm gonna make you mad.
Right. If it was like time travelers, like watch Steins Gate instead.
Yeah. But personally, I rather enjoyed the show. It was a good way to spend the time. I just felt that it could have been a little less complicated, and it probably would have been streamlined a little bit better. But let's give it a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll go around 7 or 10 or 6 or 5. 5 for me is like, I enjoyed it, I liked the characters, but they had some issues, like you said. If they got rid of the body swapping thing, I think it might have been a little bit more.
Yeah, to me that would have boosted it way up.
Right, yeah, so I'll agree on the 7 out of 10. Definitely on that one. And I think that's it for that show, so see you guys next time.
Thanks a lot, folks.